Yo guys, Coach Theo here on Common Sense, and today we'll be talking about the gender war, the toxic relationship between men and women. Some people in the comments have questioned why I need to be shirtless for videos like this. To those people I say, why do you need to be covered up at all times? I mean, I realize taking your shirt off would be an embarrassing experience for a lot of people, but the sun is good for you. We're just not going to get that much more of that in Sweden after September, so please, let a guy that's a fitness professional, among other things, be jacked and tan on camera. Some people even speculated, am I even wearing any pants? Do I in fact have the lower body of a horse? I mean, I'm around horses, right? Very interesting discussion. Let's keep it going. But okay, what I noticed from putting out videos like this is that there's a lot of people, both men and women, who are quite concerned about, man, things are so messed up between the sexes. Is it even possible to find someone I truly connect with and create that meaningful relationship that I've always wanted? And I know this because, well, first of all, this kind of video of mine gets way more views than anything else. But then, of course, just from what people say, there's a lot of good people that kind of express that, you know, I feel quite good about myself. I feel quite confident in my ability to be a good partner, but things are so messed up between the sexes. I'm just not seeing, how do I meet that person? How do I connect with someone like that? Is it even possible to get the kind of relationship that I want? Then, of course, there's a bunch of guys that think I'm just with you on the whole incel bash, women are terrible wagon, which I'm absolutely not. Then there's a bunch of nasty women that get triggered by me too. You know, women, you can be so terrible when you're hurt and you just want to hurt back. You're not trying to contribute anything. You just want to punish the other person, right? Oh, I was so triggered by your video, but let me write this wall of text about how I, as a woman, find you unattractive. Well, you'll get over being unhappily in love with me one day, my dear. So, yeah, keep in mind, like, to be clear, I'm not the angry incel guy that just whines and complains about women, but I'm not the opposite either. Not a white knight taking women's side on, you know, patriarchy, blah, blah, right? I'm very much a guy just sharing his perspective, okay? So keep that in mind. And obviously I know the guys' perspective a little bit better. You know, I try to be considerate to women because, well, I'm a guy. Keep that in mind. Just one incredibly jacked guy sharing his incredibly smart and thought-through perspective, all right? So I call it the toxic relationship between men and women because clearly both sides have problems, issues, grievances with the other side. And the way I see it, the problem is, like, oh, we're talking about us as people now. We could, on a video like this, I could spend a lot of time on the societal level. How did we even end up here, right? But I always want to bring it back to you or us individuals, right? And I see egotism and a lack of taking responsibility for the own side as being the issue here, right? I'm going to tell you personal stories so you see where I'm coming from. So just for you that don't know, I'm 31 today. I've done this uncommon sense stuff, like not everything on YouTube and that, but things I do and talk about on the channel I've been working on for 6 years, because at 25, I hit rock bottom in life, started having daily panic attacks, and I had to force that, and then I gave. After going through that transformational period in my life, I started to give like a healthy lifestyle a go, and I pretty much became the polar opposite of my old self. So I used to be, like I say, a skinny, fat, loser, hedonist, stylist kind of guy, just pleasure-seeking, or looking to party, get drunk, hook up with women, or when that isn't possible, just porn, right? But pretty much hedonist, pleasure-seeker existence, right? And so when I was 21, that's when I first came across like feminism, right? This aggressive anti-male, or anti-white male specifically, one like me, right? And I remember, first of all, being just so confused, because I've always heard that sexism and racism is wrong, and I agree with that. And here I just could read blatantly racism and sexism in one of the biggest newspapers. That was, of course, before I knew that, okay, there's some kind of neo-Marxist ideology in this, you know, patriarchy, structural oppression, blah, 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 right? But then I got very angry from this, because, you know, men are pointed out to be the bad guy and women are victim. Poor women, we need to help and think about women all the time. And men are oppressors and privileged, right? And it makes many men angry, because someone like me, I had a very tough childhood. I experienced anxiety, depression very early on in life. I struggled and I suffered a lot through my life. I never felt like I was privileged in like any sense other than possibly monetarily. My family had, you know, we never struggled with money, right? But that's it pretty much. And definitely I never felt like I had anything on women, like that I was feeling that I am above them or that I have some kind of advantage, like the physical would be the only thing, right? So you get quite angry as a young guy like that, right? But so, you know, as many guys will recognize, I got deep into, and women too, for you know, but getting into the politics and following and being upset about all this, the wokeism, everything, right? But so, when I had those panic attacks, it was after I hit rock bottom in life. And rock bottom, of course, it's like everything coming tumbling down on you. That's not the point here. But one of the things was that I started to wake up to the fact that, you know, I might be right about like all my observations about the world, the media, politicians, feminism, and women. I might be right in all of it, but who am I really to be criticizing any of this, right? Let's give old Theo, or like younger Theo, but the previous version of Theo, that, okay, you're right about everything you think about women. However, are you embodying everything you think a man should be? Are you setting a good example for other men and for women, right? Are you acting in a way that inspires women to step up to be better? Or are you just sitting and complaining and whining, having all these criticisms about women, while being a little skinny fat loser hedonist guy, pleasure-seeking guy? That was, of course, the truth, and that's painful to wake up to, right? And yeah, it's like I said, there's so many points that could be made in this video, but I'm just a guy sharing his perspective here. I'm not going to do the huge societal analysis of this. I just want to urge everyone. It's so easy as a human to just be pointing the finger to everything around you. See what they're doing. Say, look, this is messed up. Oh, if they were better, then I would be better. But it starts with you. The alpha male or female goes first. You know, a lot of people, it's not about romance and relationships even. A lot of people, they would step up and act better, but they're too scared. Right? They're insecure or just afraid of getting used, that something is one-sided. But when you in life take the first step in many ways, you see that there's going to be a lot of people that step up, right? So it's not about removing responsibility from the other sex, but it's like trying to have some compassion, try to put yourself in the other sex's shoes and not just have all these criticisms. Because, yeah, I can have my complaints about women, but I can also see things, at this point I can see things that women have to deal with that I don't, right? And vice versa. And it gives me a lot more compassion for women. So even with the, you see, I feel like, you know, women are victims of stuff in this world too. Of all this feminism and that even. So, you know, I want to be a good man to the women. I want to inspire them to be better, right? So try to put yourself in the shoes of the other sex and take responsibility for yours, right? Like always, whether it's men and women, the one that's complaining loudly about the other sex, you can be sure that they are a huge part of the problem, always. Just randomly comes to mind once when I was on one of these dating apps that I really don't like, but I just remember this girl, seeing she looked so angry all the time, and it said in caps, "No toxicity." And I started chatting to her a little bit, and she was in this like hyper masculine mode. It's kind of like, yeah. Sorry, kind of lost my train of thought there because I just know what sentiment I want to get out. I don't really have a script. But even when I think back to the kind of guy that I used to be and the guys I was surrounding myself with, I was complaining a lot about women, right? But again, I was part of the problem. I was trying to hook up with girls all the time. I'm saying I want girls to be traditional and not have high body counts. And here I am out racing girls' body counts, right? And yeah, do you know a good question to ask yourself? Whether you're a man or woman, would I want my son or daughter to marry a guy or girl like me? And the answer to that will tell you a lot, right? The honest answer, of course. And that was kind of, I didn't think of it in that phrasing, like would my daughter marry a guy like me or would I want that? But that's kind of what I woke up to, the fact that I am not the kind of man I think a man should be, and I'm sitting here whining about women, right? I'm part of the problem, and I've decided to be part of the solution. So, you know, in a nutshell, the problem today is that men have grown too soft and weak and feminized. I think a lot just from the technological advancements, like all the modern comforts and luxuries, right? Like it's just not so necessary to be able to be masculine, or hasn't been in some ways, so we turn too soft. And now it's starting to become necessary again. And then we have all these women that are masculinized and too hardened, right? Because all the feminism, of course, they've been told, oh, you've been oppressed, you should want everything a man wants, you should kind of be a man, you don't need a man, you can just be one instead, right? And the funny thing is that even more feminized, weaker men, most guys, if they describe the kind of girl they want a feminine girl, like soft, sweet, caring, empathetic, homemaking, mothering nature like that. And I don't mean that we all want to chain you to the stove and that's all you do. Just mean that those kinds of traits, that kind of energy is often what we guys look for in a girl, right? And women, funnily enough, even with all this feminism and talking points like toxic masculinity and that, often what women express is that they want a strong man, like that takes charge, that takes the lead, that can handle me, kind of. But we got to realize here, it takes two to tango, okay? It's because that's the thing when I'm thinking about my old self. That's a lot how you think, like, I know how I would be if only girls were good, but they aren't. So, I'll just try to hook up with them and stuff like that, right? But it doesn't work that way. Like, because that's what I'm looking back at when I'm thinking about me and the kinds of guys I surround myself with. Like, why would girls want to try harder for guys like this, right? I just think I should get in somewhere here that I call it a toxic relationship between men and women, because just like in a relationship, it doesn't work to just be pointing, say they do this, they do that. Oh, if only they did this, then I would. But in a relationship, you gotta find some kind of happy medium. Try to understand the other, take responsibility for your side. Maybe I contribute to the problem here. Maybe the dynamic I'm not liking, I'm part of. What can I do to change the dynamic? How can I step up my game so that my partner steps up their game, right? Then in a relationship, of course, sometimes we outgrow each other and end up going separate ways. But on a societal level here, we're stuck with each other. And men and women having relationship is a condition for the continued existence of our species. And we're just going to have a whole lot more pleasant experience on Earth here if we get along. So let's try for each other, all right? So what we're going to realize, guys, if we want a girl to be feminine, sweet, gotta step up, you gotta be masculine. You can't be a little go with the flow kind of guy that just has no plan, no idea, nor mission, like for himself or for you with a woman, right? And girls, if you want a guy to be like that, I'll tell you, as a guy, it's so easy to step up as into masculine provider leading energy when the girl is soft and sweet. And kind of when you feel that kind of adoring energy, like your masculinity is well received, it's so easy to step up and just give her what she wants, right? So it goes both ways. Like, guys, if you want women to be more feminine and the values and things that you have to act accordingly. You have to set a good example. You have to create a good environment for a woman to surrender, because that's what I imagine. Just like it's easy to step up into your masculine when a girl is like that, I'm sure it's easier for you girls to let go of control, that masculine hustle mode that you've been forced into a lot from the modern world, and just when a guy is secure and safe, strong, but not in a sense that he feels like aggressive to you, is safe to you, right? I imagine it's a lot easier for you to follow along, right? So I just want to take one last example that doesn't really necessarily have to do with the sexes and that, but it's always that you gotta be the change you want to see. Like, yeah, the others should and have to change. Other people's do things wrong, poorly, and could do it better. But in the end, the only person you can control is you. And you becoming better will improve everything around you, like both apart from you and with you, if that makes sense. Like me, when I started my life transformation, my physical transformation, just a lot of people in my life that just saw me do that, they just got inspired to start training and eating. Or people very often send me a message, or when I run into someone, they tell me something like that, right? But also because I become a more capable person, more caring, I understand myself better, so I bring more to the table in any relationship, whether romantic or not, right? I get more out of those people too, because I give more, I get more back, right? I think that's the note I want to end on again. Alpha males or females go first. They don't complain and point the finger and wait for everyone else to go first, waiting for the world to change before they do. No, they take the first step, okay? And like I said, you could get into all the societal things, so get conspiratorial, why we ended up here and that. But in the end, guys, with everything that we have problems with on a macro scale, if we changed it, all of us on a micro scale, we would change it on a macro scale as well. It starts with you, okay? So we'll be looking forward to hearing your comments as always. I read most of it, even if I stop responding after a while. It's quite addictive, honestly, to interact so much with the comments, but I love it. So keep them coming. I do holistic bodybuilding coaching. We work on ourselves, getting jacked and stacked, mentally, physically, spiritually, becoming that man or woman that just has a certain body as an expression of the supreme individual that they are. I don't know that I want to say supreme, but you see what I'm saying. So if you're interested, send me a DM on Instagram or email me. It's all in the description below. You can pick up my training book too, everything training, mindset, philosophy related you need to become that individual that has that physique. You can become a patron for more exclusive content, weekly solo podcast episodes, $8 per month, gives you access to everything. And please subscribe for more content about fitness, fasting, losing weight, building muscle, self-improvement, stoicism, mental health, philosophy, spirituality, mindset. It is a mindset, guys. It's not those people. It's you that has to change. Peace.